England's seaside towns, a national failure hidden by the tide. England's seaside towns have become the country's forgotten front line of decline. Behind the bright paint and summer crowds lie communities hollowed out by decades of neglect, underinvestment and policy failure. Current state of decline. Jaywick near Clacton-on-Sea remains officially the most deprived neighbourhood in England, with its collapsing chalets and flood-prone streets a symbol of how far the coast has fallen. From Blackpool to Weston-super-Mare, the same pattern repeats itself. Poverty, poor housing, insecure work and a growing mental health crisis among young people. Research from the University of Essex shows that young people in deprived coastal towns are 3 times more likely to live with undiagnosed mental health conditions than those inland. Many are struggling in silence, cut off from overstretched services and trapped in towns with few prospects. For them, the seafront's painted railings and tourism slogans mean little. The local economy runs on seasonal jobs and private rentals that drain low wages back to absentee landlords. Government investment. Paper versus reality. Government ministers regularly cite large-sounding figures such as hundreds of millions for coastal regeneration, billions for flood defences and new maritime investment schemes. On paper, these sums sound transformative. In reality, they are neither coordinated nor sustained. Much of the funding is tied to one-off projects, short-term capital schemes or competitive bids that pit struggling towns against each other. The government's own Levelling Up programme spread over a decade would barely cover the infrastructure backlog of a single medium-sized coastal district. Experts from Essex and Plymouth universities point out that real regeneration would cost tens of billions, not the odd million per scheme. Decaying housing stock needs large-scale renewal. Transport and digital links require full county strategies, not token upgrades. Youth mental health services, education and employment pathways all need multi-year, ring-fenced funding, not pilot projects that vanish with the next spending round. Coastal defences and social foundations. Meanwhile, coastal defences absorb much of the available budget, essential but insufficient. Protecting promenades while social foundations collapse behind them is a political choice, one that preserves the view but not the people. The gap between the rhetoric of renewal and the reality of life in these towns is widening. What is needed is not another grant scheme or tourism rebrand, but a national coastal recovery plan just for England. It needs to be long-term, social as well as physical, and led by the communities themselves. A realistic coastal recovery plan would need at least 30 to 40 billion pounds over a decade, targeted at housing renewal, local economies, youth mental health and climate adaptation, not just flood walls and visitor centres. To say it cannot be done is misleading, because that is roughly what the British government has spent on a single high-speed rail line. Solutions and recommendations. The government can impose special taxes, levies and profit surcharges on utility companies on their excess profits. The government can allocate multi-year/long-term regeneration funds, help councils borrow with long-term favourable rates, and encourage private developers and businesses to invest in tourism, housing and local infrastructure. Anything less is window dressing. Until such ambition exists, the sound of decline will keep washing up on England's shores. A quiet, steady erosion of hope, opportunity and belonging that no amount of summer sunshine can disguise. Why a government for England matters. The WEU believes that a sustained coastal recovery plan can only be delivered by a government for England. A UK-wide approach dilutes responsibility, channels funds according to political compromises, and risks prioritising Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland over England's most desperate coastal towns. The scale of social, economic and infrastructural failure on the English coast requires focused leadership, tailored policies and ring-fenced funding. A one-size-fits-all framework designed to spread resources thinly across the entire United Kingdom will not work because it isn't working. Only a government for England, accountable to the communities it serves, can confront decades of neglect and finally make long-term regeneration a reality.